Alrighty. Let's wait and see if we get anybody in here. What's going on, folks? If you're tuning in, I'm gonna wait a little bit. I got some stuff I need to say. We'll see how many people turned out. What's going on, Kendrick? Good to see you. Like always, you always be one of the first ones around. What's going on, Raymond James? I'm just let y'all know ahead of time. This ain't the It's gonna be a very open discussion type of stream. But this ain't gonna be about wins and losses. I just want to talk about like what actually happened, what we can learn from what happened, and who was right, who was wrong, and where I stand on this whole situation. So I don't know how many people are gonna tune in. I'm gonna wait a little bit. Send out a couple links. And yeah. So just stand fast for a little bit. There we go. Is it going live? All right. Guess I'll talk to myself. Because either way, what's gonna be said needs to be said here. Let me hide the comments. Ain't got nobody in here to really comment. So I'm gonna just start talking, and as people join, it is what it is. What are we going on? We're going 4 minutes. All right, so I don't waited like 5 minutes. So I'm gonna just get into it, and we can go from there. This is how this is gonna go. This isn't gonna be. I'm not gonna sit here and pretend like. Look, for this particular situation, I'm gonna have to choose. Really think about what I'm saying. put it to you like this, man. I don't care about football, right? I know this football channel, we care about football, and that's what we want to talk about. I got it. I don't give a damn about football right now. Um, when I'll say that when I initially heard the story, I didn't give a damn about football. After the fallout has fallen and everything is, the smoke is cleared, I can sit here and tell you that I don't think it was as big a deal as some of us as I initially thought this could have been. It was a misunderstanding. It was uh, it was an embellishment for sure, and it was a player taking a stand, and I support what that player did 100%. So if you're here tonight and you want to hear a bunch of football talk, and you don't want to hear about, if you don't want to hear some of the truth, raw talk, then you can be so kind as to just leave the discussion. Don't comment on the discussion, or just do your own. By all means, unsubscribe. I already have lost a few subscribers yesterday when I released my initial video when the news had just broke. It was probably, I don't know, 5, 6 o'clock here, Hawaii time. News breaks. So, everything was pretty late in the States when that news broke out. So here's the deal. Let's go over this in chronological order. Here's the deal. I say about a week ago, or earlier this week sometime. I don't really quite got the exact date down of when the interview happened. But Norvell sat down for an interview, and Norvell, I believe, was asked, with the current climate in society, how was he going to address the team on what's going on, basically. And Norvell's response, I want to get the exact quote of the response. Let's see if I can find it. Bam, right here. Norvell's response. So the question was, here's the full quote of Norvell's response to that question. We've had a lot of open communication with our team, our players, and our coaches. I went back and forth individually with every player this weekend, and that was something that was important to me because this is a heartbreaking time in our community, in our country. I'm sorry. You see hate and you see discrimination. You see some of the acts that have occurred. I mean, it's a problem, and it's something that we have to stand together and we have to work it and get it fixed. I'll continue to share with our guys the platform that we have and the opportunity that here it is to make a difference, to be an influence and to be able to impact our country in a positive way by overall mindset, approach, and how we treat people and how we respond in situation. I told these guys just how grateful I am to be a part of this journey and with them because they are the future. We've got an incredible group of young men that I have a chance to work with as players and as coaches. I'm honored to have this opportunity to help make a difference. That's something that we definitely have talked about in a big picture team approach, but also more specifically with the individual and group conversations. We're trying to meet our guys at their need and be able to share some of the emotions that we are going through. That's the quote from Mike Norvell that was shared by Tayshaun Reed, of The Athletic, or I'm guessing he works at The Athletic. I know of Tayshaun. I know that he's been covering the team for last few years. So I the name and the face I recognize. I don't know if he works for The Athletic or not. But anyway, it says at Athletic, so I'm guessing that's who did the interview. So that was that, right? I remember seeing the quote and the tweet and thought to myself, okay, taking a proactive approach. Cool. That's good stuff. Then, here we go. 18 hours ago, Marvin Wilson 21, head honcho on Twitter. Man, this shit did not happen, man. We got a generated text that was sent to everybody. There was no one-on-one talk between us and coach. This is a lie, and me and my teammates as a whole are outraged and will not be working out until further notice. That was in response to Norvell's initial quote. So we'll stop right here and let's address what's taking place so far. My whole thing with this, and if you're just joining me, what's up? But my whole thing with this is pretty simple. It was a lack of communication. And what it boils down to is you had one individual who basically he wasn't happy with the way it was worded. And the way it was worded and the way it's presented in the article is Norvell made it seem as if he sat down with every player and talked about what was going on. That it was when I initially read it, that was my take. That they sat down, had a one-on-one conversation, and hashed out, just had a proactive approach to, hey, what's going on? How do you feel about it? Blase, blase. That's the way I took it. And Marv was quick to shoot that down and say, no. That's not how it went. So who's right? Who's wrong? Hold on. What's up?
Aiden's in here and then eating food.
Okay.
Can I say hi?
No.
Okay. Come on, Adrian. Daddy's
Come
doing
on.
his video.
Come on. Oh. Now that these kids done made me lost track, man. My bad. Go.
Bye-bye.
Hey, say hello. But where was I? So the issue Marvin had was the notion that. So here's the truth, and here's what was perceived. The truth is there was a text sent out to every single player with their name, and hold on, let me get the exact text, the exact quote, a text out of what was sent out. I have that somewhere too. There was a text sent here. Here it is. Stop. There was a text sent out. So there's truth in that. There was a text sent out to every player. Here's the text that was sent out. No, my bad. That's not the text. Here's the text that was sent out right here. Where is it? Now I can't find the text, and I just had it. So I'm shooting a video. This one happened to me. Now I go live, and this happens. Not touching that, son. But anyway, man, if you're just joining the chat, thanks for tuning in. I just pretty much got started. Okay, here's the text message that was sent out by Norvell. Good evening, name. Good evening, and then every player had their own name. This text was sent out to every player on the team. So good evening, whoever. I wanted to shoot you a short message. Sorry, I can't send a video because I'm driving. I want to let you know that Maria and I are praying for every coach and player as well as for our country. For all those that have been victims of hateful actions, discriminations, prejudice, and disrespect, we'll lift them up in our thoughts and seek justice. We live in an unfair and volatile world, but I want you to know that you are loved and counted on to make a difference for our country's future. I know there is anger, strong feelings that come with each day and every experience, but please know better days are ahead because of you. Be safe, and please always know we are here for you as coaches and staff, if you ever need to talk, you have a tremendous platform as members of our No family. Let's be different and let our actions be heard in service, sacrifice, and respect. Thank you for your opportunity to coach and stand by your side. Oh, the message cut off. I gotta. Thank you for your opportunity to coach by your side and stand by your side. Can't wait to see you tomorrow night in our Zoom meeting. That is the exact text message that every player got from Norvell. So, again, as we stop and we look at the situation thus far, at this point, we didn't know this text was out. But at this point, we know Marvin saying BS. What's being said happened, didn't happen. We did not meet with Norvell as a team, as individuals, and he had an issue with it. So I'm going to address the issue first. I'm going to address, was Marv right or wrong? Should Marvin Wilson have came out publicly? Should this have all been happening in-house? Listen. Man, what are we all doing? Listen, man. Here's the deal with the whole situation for me. I don't care about football. And when I first heard, when this story first broke, I was like, hold up. This is a big deal. Because my first thought process was, why did you make up a story to save, I don't know if it's to save face, look good in the public eye? Why make up a story in these times and then think it's going to get publicly? You don't think any player is going to call you out for your foolishness? That was my initial thoughts. Like, if this is a lie, who goes to that length? Like, why do that? So Marvin Wilson took it as, when he exposed it as, no, this stuff didn't happen. That was my first thought. Like, man, no, this guy did not just lie on being, in my opinion, is a proactive approach to a situation. The facts are, it's not always about football all the time. That's just how I feel about this particular situation. Now, in hindsight, having all the facts, which we will get to, I could say that this situation isn't as large as initially thought, right? The situation isn't, don't let ESPN tell you differently, because ESPN has had a little fun day today trying to tell you Norvell's losing the team and all this other, you listen to a guy like Paul Feinbaum, oh man, he'll make it sound like Norvell's just lost his entire football team. But the initial thought process for me was that you're going to lose this team if you put out a bogus story of how you were trying to be proactive in a time where I think these guys needed to hear some proactiveness, right? So Marv called it out. And everything pretty much went silent. And a lot of other players co-signed Marv's call out. Now that happened about, for you guys, that was like around midnight. For me, that was late evening. That was like the evening time for me. So everything went quiet for the next few hours. So by the time I wake up, why are you talking when I'm talking? By the time I wake up, I see, let's continue the chain of events, right? I hear that a meeting was called only for the team to now the meeting was called. The team was going to not even attend the meeting. So there was a lot of, how do I put it? There's a lot of people walking on eggshells earlier this morning. Long story short, man. They got it cleared up, and the issue came from really one word, every. Once the facts were laid out, Norvell did meet, I won't say he met, but he did have personal conversations with certain players that reached out to him off of the mass text that was sent to everybody. The problem Marv had, and obviously I don't think Marv must not have met with Norvell. Every player did not get a chance to talk one-on-one with Coach Norvell. And I think honestly, Norvell may have embellished the stories a bit. I think he wanted the story to sound maybe greater than it was. I don't see the need for that. Just be transparent, right? So transparency is the key, because when you add certain words to a phrase, it can make the phrase seem grander or smaller than what it is. So you tried to make it seem like it was this bigger situation, maybe than it was. Come to find out, yes, you sent a mass text. I won't call it generic text. I think that text I read to you wasn't generic. Now, it didn't differ from player to player, but I think a lot of thought went into the text. Just to answer any question, I don't think Norvell came off as like a phony or anything. I don't think Norvell, in comparison to like a Dabo Sweeney, which we'll get on that later on. This is nothing. But the problem is you're going to lose trust with these kids if you just don't come be transparent. Say, I don't know. How easy is it to in that interview say, I haven't had personal conversations with every player, but I've reached out via text to every player, and any player that's willing to have open communication, we can have open communication. I like, bam, in 5 seconds, I just laid that out to you. I don't understand why Norvell couldn't do the same thing. Andrea, close that door. Close the door. So I don't understand why you couldn't do the same thing. And that time, like I just did it in 5 seconds. I don't know how a multi-million-dollar coach can't come up with, or PR can't come up with the same kind of sentiment. So yeah, I don't. It was a bad decision, or it was a bad mistake. Open. These kids get on my nerves. What are y'all doing? Take them watch TV. Take them watch TV. Okay, well just put him down then, because he's gonna keep crying and whatever. I was in my groove and he made me lose it. Like I was saying, it would have been too easy to just come out with the accurate statement. The statement is not a lie. It's not a total lie, right? The contact did happen between some players. The messages was sent out. The players did receive the messages. So the offer was extended to the players. Just not every player met with him, and he didn't sit down and have those one-on-one conversations that he claims, or he made it seem like that's what happened, right? He didn't come out and say that this happened, but in the context of the quote makes it seem as if this is what happened. So no, it's not this huge, massive deal that I might have been, because it would have been a big deal had the whole thing been a blatant lie. Then yeah, I think we'd be having a different conversation right now. But I wanted to wait till I got as much facts as possible before I kind of ripped Norvell's heart out of his chest. So I don't need to do that. I don't feel like I need to do that, right? I commend Marvin Wilson for doing what he did. I'm not one of the issues we have in society, and I'm not here to preach to anybody. And if you don't want to hear it, you can leave and you don't have to hear it. But I'm going to keep it real, and just as this is how I feel on how you handle certain things. Every time you try to handle something behind the closed doors, there's certain things that you handle behind closed doors, keep in house, and there's certain things you don't. This would have been one of those things, so to me, you don't lie and try to make a profit or a gain on what's happening out here that are serious issues in the world just to make you as a coach look better, right? That's the issue I initially had. Like, you're trying to profit off of the riots and the protests that's going on right now and make it seem like you're being proactive for the cause when essentially you just told a big fat lie. So I have no problem with Marvin Wilson, who is obviously a leader on this football team. Like, if you didn't think he was the leader of this football team before, watching him come out and say what he said and then have every player back him up, as soon as he released what he said, he had Tamarion Terry, he had everybody co-signing that tweet. So if Marv wasn't the obvious leader before, Obviously, this team, he's carrying this team on his back, and this team is going to lock in step to whatever Marv has going. So I support Marvin Wilson 100%. You put him on blast. If you could make the case that, well, if Marv didn't completely understand, yeah, I got it. But guess what? Norvell would take the time to get his quote correct. So Marv didn't need to take the time to get all the details from Mike Norvell. You put what you put out in the public to be seen, and the player reacted accordingly, in my opinion. You get out there and you expose this fake fraudulent behavior from the jump. Again, I'm not going to bash Norvell because after getting the details of what happened, I don't think it's that big a deal as people are going to try to make it seem. I think it's all squash. From everything I'm reading and hearing, Sante Samuel Jr., he tweeted, he put out an Instagram live video after with them all in the locker room saying, don't believe what ESPN saying. We good over here. We squashed about a blase. Marvin Wilson released the video. A lot of people had come. Kavion Glenn released a message saying we love our coach and we stand behind him 100%. So they don't know. They've squashed, or they've come to a resolution. I won't even say squash it. They've come to a resolution on what happened. Marvin Wilson said, that's why I got everybody registering to vote. The whole team's going to be registered to vote. Charities and fundraisers for the kids in the community, for kids around town. They're going to do a lot of different things. Marvin Wilson took a stand, and if the players are happy, if Marvin Wilson's happy with what came of that, then I'm happy with it. Okay? Marvin Wilson got what he wanted to get out of that. And I respect him for taking that stand, because I'm going to call a spade. A guy by the name of Xavier Thomas plays for Clemson, DN, stud. You might have heard of him. He tweets on Marvin's post, respect. Yet you play for Clemson. You haven't spoken a word about the man you play for. And he has a list of transgressions we can go over, from a staff member who still coaches on that team using the N-word. I don't care if he used it towards the player or I don't care in what contents he used it. Should no 50, 40-year-old man be saying that around a bunch of black athletes. Let's just be honest. Saying racism doesn't exist because Michael Jordan owns an NBA team. Like, what kind of illogical thinking is that? Obviously, he didn't support Cap at the time when Cap was doing what he was doing, and here we are now, and a lot of people have changed tunes on that. So Dabo has a list of transgressions that he doesn't quite understand the young men that he's making millions of dollars off. Let's just be honest. So he doesn't speak out against his own coach. Marv did. Now, if you want to keep it football related, and you guys, I see a few people tweeting, it's not tweeting, sorry, but message in the comments, and I'll get to the comments after I'm done ranting and raving. If you're one of those people that bump all the BS, I just want to talk football. It's all about getting on the field. I got it. This ain't the live stream for you. You might want to go find another one to watch. I might offend. I've already lost a few followers. I'm cool with that though, because I'm gonna keep it real with you. And this had the potential to be bigger than football, but it was squashed. I thought to get to the positives, I thought the AD, I thought Norvell himself, I thought the university, Marvin Wilson, I thought everybody handled themselves extremely well in this whole process. And I can make a case that the program and the university looks stronger than it did before. Okay? There's nothing wrong with having disagreements and coming to a compromise or a conclusion or a result and getting things done together as a team. So to me, they come out winners above this whole thing. And ultimately, it only boils down to, it was a simple misunderstanding, man. It was a misunderstanding of a player. I think Marvin Wilson felt slighted. Like, you're claiming you did this for us, but you didn't. And he felt the need to in this current climate, I guess he felt the need that he was taking a stand, and I respect that. Let me read a few comments in the chat. Hey, thanks everybody for joining, man. Got Kendrick, Just Tell the Truth. Yep, Just Tell the Truth. Old Baldy. Yeah, Paul Feinbaum was on there. Of course, he always had something negative about to say about Florida State. And that's what he did. Honesty and transparency with the players are huge keys for any program. Honesty and transparency is huge keys in life, especially when you're a leader of young men. Just be honest and transparent, especially what they've been through with Jimbo Fisher. They've been through a lot of lies with Jimbo Fisher. Now with Taggart, you had more of a clown show with that. So yeah, they definitely need some stability and some honesty. So I think that had another factor to play in why Marv came out and said what he said. Like, yo, come on, all we've been through, and now what's going on, and this EMG was going on, man. He said Polk County, why he need not do it on Zoom? He had the capability. We don't know if they didn't talk on Zoom, EMG, to be quite honest with you. Now, in the quote or in the text message that I read, he said he was driving at the time. So it's possible that at that particular moment he sent the text. And, you got these phones now, you just talk and they'll send exactly what you need them to send or whatever. Maybe his wife sent the text while he was driving. Who knows? Maybe he just couldn't Zoom at that moment. But at the end of the message, it says, we will see you in the Zoom meeting tomorrow. So again, I don't know if it didn't happen. I think Marv's problem was the individual, every player part. Marv's problem was where he goes, I've sat down with each individual and every player. And Marv's like, no, you haven't. You reached out to every player. True. But you haven't had individual conversations with every player. I think that was Marv's problem. And he addressed the problem. And yeah, EMG says Big Marv kept it real. He kept it all the way real. Checks and balances, and I'm glad Marvin spoke out. FSU doesn't need to be like Bama, Clemson, A&M. Yeah, speak of Georgia, I think Kirby Smart's got some if you remember, this is a little bit off topic, but I'll touch on it. If you remember, Justin Fields, he transferred from Georgia claiming racism. Lo and behold, what comes out today? Jake Fromm talking about how elite whites are the only ones that should be allowed to purchase guns. So now Justin Fields, he must have been talking some truth. When Justin Fields transferred, he said there was some racism going on in Georgia. So Kirby Smart might have a systematic problem on his hands that he needs to address. But see, nobody's going to talk about that. They're going to bash Jake Fromm. Don't get it wrong. You're going to see ESPN and everybody bash Jake Fromm, and they should, because he's the one who said the words. But Kirby Smart's got a systematic problem at Georgia, and it's evident when the second best quarterback in the nation in that class, Justin Fields was second to Trevor Lawrence. The second best quarterback in the nation decides to leave your program because of racism, only to come to find out that the guy that took his job and Jake Fromm is the racist. Ooh, that's interesting, isn't it? Georgia's got some questions to answer, but they won't put the pressure on a Georgia, on a Clemson. Like I may have saw 2 ESPN segments on Clemson, nothing more. It seemed like everybody forgot about Dabo Swinney in a day. They won't put the pressure on them like they're going to put on us. But so there's a lot of stuff going on in college football and just in the world in general that needs to be addressed. And I don't hear the Georgia players talking about it. I'd be very curious going forward if any Georgia players come out and say Jake Fromm was XYZ or, that'd be interesting. That'd be something interesting. I damn sure don't hear one Clemson player speaking out against Dabo Swinney. Tell me all them young black boys at Clemson don't feel some type of way about what's going on, don't feel some type of way about the staff member calling another player. No, don't let me misquote. He didn't call a player an N-word, but he used the word. I don't care the context. A 50-year-old white man don't need to be saying the word around 19, 20-year-old young black kids, period. And nobody's going to address it. Nobody's going to address Clemson. No, their own players aren't addressing them. So, it is what it is. Their student athletes are muzzled until years after. And they actually talk about those schools, yeah. ESPN just hating. Marvin came correct. Just wish it stayed in-house. That's all. And here's the thing about that, Florida State love. I understand the sentiment of, man, this all could have been handled, especially in hindsight, right? Now that we have the facts and everybody kind of looks at the situation as a whole and go, damn, this wasn't even that big a deal. We could have just we could have just talked about this in-house. You're probably right. In hindsight, and at any other time, right? If what's going on in the nation right now isn't going on, this probably does get handled in-house. This probably something like this gets handled in-house where Marv's like, yo, coach, you said XYZ, and what we gonna do about it? And they're like, okay, let's handle that right now. But again, with the climate, I thought it was necessary. And I applaud the young man for calling out Coach Norvell in public. But I understand the sentiment of, we should have kept it in house and da 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 da. I got it. But some things are bigger than football. And I don't care about recruiting and wins at this point. Not when this coach is leading these kids and at a pivotal point in his short tenure, he has a chance to really make a connection and really put this university like in a very amazing spot to where like he's taking this proactive approach, right? Because the media right now, they're quick to bash on anything, and it should be like this, right? Any hint of racism, man, everybody's crashing down on it. It's the way it should have always been, but we're America, we're making progress, we're just making it slowly. So that's why this happened like how it happened. At another time, this probably doesn't happen that way. But it is what it is. Marvin upset about being marginalized, unappreciated. Breeze's comments didn't help either. You got to remember as well, Marvin Wilson isn't a Floridian. Marvin Wilson is a Houston native, and so was George Floyd. I'm pretty sure Marvin Wilson has some strong feelings about what happened to a man that, I don't know, he may have known of. I mean, George Floyd was a guy who was very good friends with a popular NBA star and Steven Jackson. There's a good chance Marvin Wilson knew the guy or knew of him, or that was a big guy in their community. There's a good chance that happened. So yeah, I'm pretty sure Marv had a lot to say and express, and he feels like he didn't get that opportunity, but yet the coaches claim the opportunity was given. So I think that's just where the disconnect comes. And last comment, Raymond says, Polk County, I think it's definitely, you either go two places from here. You either lost complete trust in your coach, and this may separate and divide the team, or as a group you come together. It seems like as a group they've came together. Now time will tell. Obviously time will tell. We have what? It's June, July. If the season starts when it should, we have 2 more months of this team together, practicing, fall camp, all that good stuff. Right, time will tell. I don't think, despite what all the haters are going to tell you, I don't think that this is a life or death situation. I think it's a learning experience. I think Norvell's learned from his experience. I know the players have learned from this experience. I think it was a moment that came at an inopportune time, but maybe at the perfect time, right? Because FSU, you guys be watching me and turn tallies. FSU's been rolling recently, right? There's been a lot of good news that I've been putting out there on Florida State. It's a lot of good stuff to talk about with these guys. A lot of good information. We're recruiting fairly well. Players seem to be bought into what's going on. All this good stuff, and then this happens, and you're like, "Damn, what the hell? We were doing so good." But maybe it has happened at the best time, and it's a learning experience, and this team will grow from it. I was initially so pissed off yesterday, but I held my tongue. I gave my first initial reactions. So if you haven't seen that video, by all means, man, go tune into that. Go watch that video, my first initial reactions of what I heard, just from what I was hearing initially. And that was basically just off of Marv's tweets. once I got the facts and all the facts started laying out today, and I saw the AD make his statement, which I thought was a fairly effective statement. Again, I think the university really handled this entire situation. I thought Norvell handled the situation well. Yeah, I agree, MG. Norvell got to come correct from now on. Look, these kids aren't dumb, man. You don't look, just come correct. Don't be telling half truths, and don't try to, these kids are going to give you the credit when you deserve it. Don't try to boost your image up by telling little silly, I talked to every player and we had a one-on-one dialogue. You talked to some, but you did reach out to every player. Again, Norvell, I think this is a learning experience for the whole program. Initially, I was pretty upset yesterday, if you can't tell by that first video. But again, I get the facts, and the more I read, the more I saw the response of the players. My level went slowly down to, by the time it was time to do the live, I was like, okay, cool, we good. I think everybody's learned. Everybody will grow, and this could be something that brings this team closer, because one of the positives to take out of this entire situation was the fact that Marv came out, took a stance, and not one player on that team challenged him. Not one player on that team said, no, Marv, this ain't the way to do it. Everybody was lockstep. And if that team is like that now, when they get on that football field, number 21 is the unquestioned leader of this football team. Unquestioned leader. Norvell's got some ways to go. Yes, he's the head coach, but he's the first-year head coach, and he's still gaining the trust. If there's one guy that I think everybody on that football team, especially as a player, it's Marvin Wilson, and you saw that in the response. Everybody stood in tow with Marvin Wilson, and it was like nobody spoke until the situation was resolved. When Marv spoke, everybody was in lock, and nobody spoke out against him. And then once the situation got resolved, that's when everybody, said their piece. But not until Marvin Wilson had his say. And, I think that was some real stuff, man. I really do. I commend Marvin Wilson 1,000%, and I stand by that young brother in every which way fashion there is to stand by him. I thought he handled everything perfectly. I'll read a little bit more of these comments, man. If you just joined the chat, thanks for tuning in. Hit that like button. No Blooded says, very good reaction. Thank you, No Blooded. Do you remember Herb Street would not leave the Jameis issue alone? They were going to talk about this nonstop effort. They didn't leave. I remember after we won the national championship, one of the first things they tried to ask Jameis was about his alleged case or his accusations. Like, that's the first thing you ask a 19-year-old after he's as a redshirt freshman 19-year-old after he just beat Auburn through the winning touchdown pass in the national championship. And I remember them pushing Jameis past the reporter, wouldn't let him answer questions like that. ESPN's always had it out for Florida State. Nothing has changed. ESPN is going to keep having it out for Florida State for whatever reason. ESPN's always had it out for the Seminoles. Just like the team, this is from Raymond, just like the team showing a united front, we the fans need to show a united front. Yeah, we do need to show a united front as the fans. The problem with the fans is they can hide behind these Twitter accounts and these YouTube accounts. I saw some, and I saw it, and I'm not one of these both sides kind of guys, but man, I saw really just disgusting things from both sides. If I'm being honest, I saw people. White people were tweeting Marv about just trying to take down another white coach, stuff like that. Marv was getting those kind of tweets. I thought that was ridiculous. And then Kevion Glenn, he came out in support of Norvell again after everything was over. And I saw black people tweeting Kevion Glenn, oh, you just buck dancing, you trying to protect your white master. Like, And these are so-called claimed Florida State fans, right? So the fans will never get in step because people can hide behind avatars and Twitter accounts and YouTube accounts and know that, because of course all those people making those sentiments have like a picture of a Florida State helmet, some inanimate object as their, not their face, some inanimate object as their handle, as their avatar. So they don't want to obviously take account for what they're saying, but they want to get on there. They want to troll and be hateful and disrespectful. I didn't see any of that. I thought Marv was standing up for what he believed in. And I thought after KVR, like, we have the right as a people, when somebody says something that we don't agree with, we can disagree with them, get the apology or get the whatever as the person that's offended, whatever the other individual or the other party does to help resolve that offense. It's up to me to respect it and agree with it or not, or accept that apology. And if I do, that don't mean I'm some type of Uncle Tom because I accept, the apology of somebody. So if they accept Norvell's apology, and it's not like Norvell was out here calling kids, come on now, there's a lot of worse things that could have been done. He embellished the story. It's plain and simple. He told the truth with some embellishment on it. That's just the facts of it. Tried to make it seem a little better than what it was. And that's what happened, and got called out for it and rectified the situation. Why can't the players accept that without being called coons and Uncle Toms? It's ridiculous, man. It's ridiculous. Let's see what else we got. So on Jarvis, he say, Polk speaking facts. Always try to, man. Always try to. Big Marv is the alpha and captain of fashion. You can tell. Like, if you didn't know that now, you can tell, in my opinion. Like, I was mad, but I was so impressed with how everybody was in lockstep with Marvin. Like, it was pretty cool. It was pretty cool to see. EMG, greetings and correct. They will not let this go. It's up to the coaching staff and student athletes to stand united. Talk out their differences, transparent at all time, and call out the BS. Yes, sir. Nice talk, man. I'm just a brother from Omaha, Nebraska. I love my nose. Keep bringing the good stuff. Hey, Florida State love. Always appreciate you tuning in, man. Appreciate the support. I'm just trying to keep it 100%. That's all I'm really trying to do here. I'm not, again, we can talk about football and we can talk about recruiting all day, but eventually real life happens. This was a real life moment that happened to Florida State less than 24 hours ago. That could have been really ugly. Like, it's in this climate, this could have been bad. And I think instead, you have a positive to spin out of it. And I think you have a team that might be more united than ever before. And then Raymond and AMG are talking in the chat. So always good to see you there. So yeah, man. That's my take. That's my take. I wanted to go live on my own channel and do this one because I just wanted to get my own thoughts and my own perspective on it. Right? Plus, people have been telling me, man, you don't be doing live no more. So I figure this was a good time to hit up a live and just get some good talk with everybody in the chat. Like, what's everybody else's feelings? Were y'all mad when you found out what initially happened? Worried? Just like, what was y'all thought process on everything initially? Because I flat out asked. So I got a little thing right now trying to go viral. I'm hoping right now I got 164 likes. I flat out asked Mr. Xavier Thomas. If you have Twitter, go check the tweet out, man. I asked Xavier Thomas. Xavier Thomas posted on Marvin Wilson's, when Marvin Wilson initially put out, man, this is that BS that did not happen. I posted under there, right under Xavier Thomas's comment where he said, respect, brother. I asked him, I said, y'all speaking out against Dabo or no? Of course, he never replied to me. But, man, I got 164 likes and we trying to I keep getting them. So I'm trying to put the pressure on them. Because at the end of the day, do I like Clemson? No, I don't like Clemson. I don't like Florida. And I don't like Miami. But that young brother, Xavier Thomas, you need to speak up. Now, if you're okay with what's going over there at Clemson, then that's a different conversation for a different day. But I gotta believe out of all those players in Clemson, there's got to be two that don't feel comfortable with Dabo Swinney, or don't feel comfortable with somebody on that team doesn't feel comfortable with a staff member that in blatant open public forum said the N-word. Someone on that team has to feel something about Dabo Swinney saying racism doesn't exist because Michael Jordan owns the Charlotte Hornets. Someone on that team has to feel some type of way about the stance he took about players receiving pay and benefits. Someone on that team has to feel some type of way about him being so adamant against Colin Kaepernick when it's so apparent, especially 4 years later, that Colin Kaepernick was right the whole time. But yet no one on Clemson, no one in that whole entire organization has spoken out against Clemson. So that has to change. Oh, let me go back up. Might have missed some comments. Well, very well put. Polk County, you on point. Nothing but the truth. This is a good teachable moment as well. Yep, it's a good teachable moment for everybody involved. It's a good teachable moment for even if you're not involved. You know, it's just even if you're not involved with it, right? Even if you're on the outside looking in, I think if you look at it, you have to do nothing but respect, in my opinion, all sides of the story, right? You have to do nothing but respect the way Marv handled it, respect how the university handled it, respect how Norvell handled it. I thought everybody handled it in such a good fashion, in my opinion, that I don't think FSU has any backlash off of this other than from the typical sources. I don't think FSU looked bad. I don't think FSU looks bad at all. T2Y was grinning all day today. Yeah, I mean, that all comes from, look, I had my own friends who are Miami friends hit me up like, oh, y'all in trouble. I get it. But I think even they would admit after seeing the situation, unless you just want to troll, I don't think it's a serious situation. It could have been, but I think it was handled properly. Let's keep it real. They don't appreciate and understand how they are getting paid off brothers' backs. None of them do. You're right. You're absolutely right about that. Dabo Swinney, and that's what infuriates me the most about Dabo Swinney, more so than any. I mean, we can talk about all of the coaches in a nutshell, to be honest with you, because majority of them are older white men making millions of dollars. But what infuriates me the most about Dabo is he's saying this stuff. And like, if you're a black parent and you're sending your kid to play for this dude, I don't really understand I don't understand it. The dude makes millions of dollars off of what has a majority black roster and then says racism doesn't exist. Yet we see it on TV. Racism doesn't exist. From messages it, text message it to friends and family, and they exposed them. But how many people are having those same conversations at other schools and it's not getting exposed? But Dabo says racism doesn't exist. Yeah, Jake Fromm just was very clearly saying, hey, only the white elites. Those aren't Polk County's words. Those ain't Tyler's words. Those ain't Raymond's words. Those ain't EMG's words. Jake Fromm said the white elites should only be able to buy guns. Now, if that don't sound like some white supremacist BS, you tell me what does. But according to Dabo, racism don't exist. If you're a black parent, you should highly consider another option than Clemson. But that's just my take, and that ain't got nothing to do with Clemson hate or any of that. That's just real life talk from me. Go back to the comments. What do you expect? Dabo from Alabama. Sure is. Let's keep it real. They don't appreciate or understand how. Oh, yeah. I already read that one. I was sick to my stomach because Clemson was under the hot lamp. Man, it seemed like Clemson was under the microscope for 2 hours, and then nobody cared anymore. I was enjoying Big Game James Coleman talking about the Clemson mess and their players have been muzzled. And I'll say this about that: their players have been muzzled. If you're a player on that team, and I doubt you're listening to, obviously you're probably not listening to me if you're a player on Clemson. But by the off chance you stumble upon this video and you're a Clemson player, do not allow yourself to be muzzled. What's the worst that's going to happen? Do not allow yourself to be muzzled. I don't care who says. I don't care if Dabo says it. Do not allow yourself to be muzzled by some. Come on, man. If something's going on in the program, this has nothing to do with football and wins and losses. If something's going on in the program, y'all need to talk about it. Because the head coach has exposed himself multiple times. I'm just waiting for the nuclear bomb to drop. But for whatever reason, Clemson, I guess they pocket so deep, they paying off a lot of stuff. What's going on, Turn? Tyler says it was overblown, definitely. But this is FSU. Everything you say will be gone through. Yeah. I mean, any big-time university, except for Clemson. Some things are bigger than national championships. Some things are bigger than draft stock. There's a lot of things bigger than that, and that's why I wanted to address it in that manner. I'm all for winning games. I got it. We could have taken care of it in-house. I got it. But I think what happened, the way it was handled, I really think this team gained a lot from it. I mean, just go look at the what's the last? I don't know. Maybe I ain't seen the FSU team this unified. Since Jameis was in the Clemson locker room, giving his pregame speech. You know what I'm saying? Like, this team is in one step, in one accord, and I think they grew a lot. I think the coaching staff grew a lot. I think Norvell grew a lot. This ain't Memphis no more, dog. You got to be careful what you put out there and what you say. And I think we'll be all right. I think we'll be okay. Again, in hindsight, I don't think this was a disaster moment. And when I first heard of it, I thought it could have been. But I think it's not as serious as everyone was trying to make it. EMG says, Poe, just ask a white person, do they want to trade places? Yep. You hit nail on the head. It wouldn't happen. And we all know that. Biggest issue I had with our fans was acting like Marv was the bad person. Exactly. I heard people saying, oh, it's affecting Marv's draft stock. And that's my point, dog. At what point do we stop caring about that stuff? That's why this nation is the way it is, because nobody wants to speak out, because nobody wants to speak out in the job place because they don't want to get fired. And nobody wants to speak out here because they don't want to be shunned from this group or shunned from that group. Who gives a damn? If Marv felt and slighted, he had the right to speak up. And he did. And I think the team as a whole grew. You don't hear one Clemson player speaking up. I guarantee you don't hear one Georgia player speak up. You'll hear a Georgia player speak in defense of Fromm before you hear one of them condemn him. I guarantee you, watch as the days go forward. You'll hear a Georgia player or an ex-Georgia player say, Jake Fromm, I know, is a good guy, before you hear one of them speak out against him. And Jake Fromm may be a good guy, but when you say white elites, that's all I need to know. That's all I need to know. I know how your mind thinks. Because he didn't just say white people. That man said white elites. That's some neo-Nazi type nonsense, man. Turn say that's true. Raymond says, and thus why Fromm kept the job. Because of politics and not allowing the best player to start. I hope UEGA never win another national championship ever again. Yeah. Agreed. They told you. Justin Fields told you. He said, man, I was receiving racism over there at Georgia. So I transferred and went to Ohio State. Whatever. It's another black athlete crying about race. They're always playing the race card. What's today's date? June 4th, 2020. Of all the times for this to come out, when the nation is at the verge of a rebellion, like, man, they are burning down the streets. There's real talk out there. People are sick and tired, and they showing it. And on the verge of all of that, on June 4th, Jake Fromm gets caught in a text message calling white people elite, saying only white elites should buy guns. So that even tells you that he thinks the white elites are a step above the white poor people. Like he's a total neo-Nazi. I'm sorry, I have no defense for Mr. Jake Fromm. If you want to defend him, that's on you. I don't care how good he could throw a football or how much his black receivers come to his defense and say, no, Fromm was a good guy. That comment right there tells me everything I need to know about Jake Fromm. When he went out his way to say white elites, because he could have just said whites or white people, or the white guys just need to be able to buy guns, or something like that, where I could look at the text message and go, man, that may have been in jest. Yeah, it's stupid to say that. It's a little racist to say that, but that was a text between friends in jest. That man said white elites, and even the person he texted to was like, whoa, what are you talking about? Jake Fromm's an idiot and a racist, and he shouldn't be allowed to play football, period. Drew Brees is a different matter. I think Drew Brees is a more, he's more the conservative American gung-ho patriot. And being in the military, you deal with a lot of those. I don't think Drew Brees is a bad guy. I think he's tone deaf to the issues. Fromm's a idiot, and he's a despicable person. What's going on, Rose? Nice to have you in the building, big dog. Raymond James, sorry I typed slow, bro. No, you good, Raymond. Yeah, Turk laughing at Fromm. He's an idiot, man. He's an idiot. Raymond says, exactly. Tyler says, I think we all grew from this, folk. Norvell had to learn, Marv had to make a statement, and the team and the fans needed to see the response. Yep. That's good. That's basically sums it up, Tyler. I agree with you. I think everybody grew from everything. And again, one of the big positives I take out of the whole situation was just the fact of how the way the team unified under Marvin Wilson. I thought that was incredible to see. I really did. Had this happened a year or two ago, let's just pretend Willie Taggart's not the coach, because obviously I don't think a black coach makes that mistake. I could even make the case that Marvin probably wouldn't even call out a black coach in that manner. Given the circumstance, I can make that case. I can be fair and make that case. But just given the 2 years ago or so, I don't think the team would have rallied around it like that. I don't think the team would have. 2 3 years ago, there was a lot of individuals that only cared about individual things. But the fact that the way the team came together on this issue, these young brothers, man, they got some good heads on their shoulders, and they have talent. And I think we're going to see a Florida State team that we all could be proud of. Pat, 1984, what's going on, Pope? What's going on, Pat? Thank you if you're just now joining the chat. So I already kind of ranted and raved, so y'all probably have missed that part if you're just joining me. But we're basically just talking about whatever now. Like I'm just giving, just kind of giving I just went in on Jake Fromm. So if you missed that, you went in on Jake Fromm and him being a neo-Nazi pretty much. If you haven't seen his text messages that got exposed today. There was so I think I heard this on Turnt's stream, so I'll address it. There was, and I don't know if he addressed it or not, Tamarion Terry, after this situation went down, he did tweet out a green and orange heart. There was a lot of talk about what is he trying to say, and he put a little smirk face, he put a little grin face after the green and orange heart, and people were begging him not to leave. And some people were saying he's talking about FAMU, not Miami. I think he was talking about FAMU. That's what I think. I think it had everything to do with FAM and nothing to do with, I know the Gators want to be, not the Gators, sorry. We're not even talking about them. I think the Hurricanes just wanted to be involved in something. I think he was more so referencing a HBCU that's in Tallahassee. I think that's what he was referencing in regards to the situation and what was going on. I don't think it was anything about him leaving. I don't think people. Terry was a troll. Terry was being a troll. I agree with you, Tyler. He was just. He knew he'd get a reaction with the orange and the green heart. He knew he'd get a reaction, and and that's cool to do. Like, I don't have a problem with what he did at all. Just be careful with what you say, Norvell. Be careful with what you say. So, yeah. I think I done shot all my bullets, so I don't know. I doubt it was anything about Miami. I don't think it was anything about Miami at all. I think he was talking about FAMU. And if you don't know, which everybody should know, Tallahassee has its own historic and proud HBCU right there, right next to Florida State University, the FAMU Rattlers. That's why I believe he was going with it. I think it had little to nothing to do with Miami and them crack pigeons. If Norvell is true, he will grow stronger from this. I truly hope he is genuine in his words. I do too. I hope. Here's where I have the optimism. Players confirm that some players did reach out to Norvell and have the one-on-one communication with him, right? So that did happen. The issue with Marv was every player didn't get that opportunity. Now, I know no one specified what players. I don't know if, I don't know if Norvell was just talking to a group of players. Like, no one, what players got to talk to Norvell before this and who didn't wasn't released. But they confirmed that some people did have that open communication with Mike Norvell and some people didn't. And Marv's issue was just saying that we've all had that one-on-one with you to make it seem like you've done this, and it hasn't happened. So I don't think Norvell is just blowing hot air around. He had communications with players. I think he probably intended to have more with others. That's where in that statement, instead of you saying every player, say, I've already talked to some players. I will continue to talk to the rest of my players. This is an ongoing thing and an ongoing conversation that as a team we need to have. Like, how hard was it to do that? Like, I just did it off the cuff. I don't have nothing written down or nothing. I just did that off the cuff. So I know Norvell could have did the same thing. And that's what should have happened. But I think Norvell is genuine in the sense of he did reach out to the players. And, I mean, hell, Norvell didn't have to send the text messages that he sent to the players, but he did. He reached out. He did talk to some. So it's not like this is – now, the issue would have been if this was just all a complete fabricated lie. If Norvell didn't send a text, didn't talk to the players or nothing, then we'd have a serious issue on our hands. But, that's not the case. So I don't think we quite need to – worried too much about Norvell being a genuine guy. And up until this moment, there's never been an accusation of Mike Norvell like a Dabo Swinney. I'm going to keep calling Dabo out because something needs to happen. And I'm not wishing for the downfall of Clemson. I really could care less. This is more of a real situation at Clemson and at Georgia. So I'll keep talking about it. I don't care. EMGs, I applaud Marv for at least trying to do something positive for Tallahassee community. He sees how this country is in turmoil from the orange idiot and the current events. Yeah, I applaud Marv for, again, he's from Houston, but Marv made it specific that he wants to do for the community of Tallahassee about the impoverished school system there. Look, he said a lot in his video that I was proud of. And you got to remember, man, this is a 20-year-old kid. Doesn't probably know the best way to articulate everything that's going on in his head at that moment because he kind of started to ramble on in that video to me. But I was able to look past that and understand what he's trying to say. He's still a kid. He's still growing. He's still maturing. In 5 years, Marvin Wilson's going to have a whole different press conference about the way he's impacting lives. You know what I mean? That was what it was done after the meeting, and it was good for what it was. Tyler says, "Oh yeah, he already tweeted. He isn't going anywhere. Suck to see our fans so upset, calling him a snake and stuff over." Again, our fans, when you're able to hide on those Twitter accounts, people will say anything. But we all know who the real fans are and who's riding or dying. I think Norvell made an honest mistake to keep it real. Kids that have played for him love the guy, and I think we got a real one. I think we good. I think we're in good hands. I do. Again, I think it was an honest mistake as well. I think it was a teachable moment. I think he embezzled a little bit, but I don't think he told a blatant lie. Obviously, he didn't tell a blatant lie, and obviously, no one's ever spoke of Norvell as a. If anything, they've always called Norvell more one of the more cultured coaches. I mean, he has a picture of him rocking braids. Now that doesn't necessarily mean anything, but hey, somebody was braiding that hair, and I don't think it was Becky who was braiding his hair. Just to be real with you, so I think we're good. I think we're all right. Raymond says, EMG and Tyler, I like both of your comments. Tyler, some FSU fans just have to shake your head. Yep. Church says the media is buzzing. The media is gonna buzz. Jamel Hill was talking about Florida State, ESPN, Paul Feinbaum. But those are the Jamel Hill, if you don't know, she hasn't liked Florida State since Jameis was there. A lot of people were mad that Jameis I won't even say got off. Jameis was never even charged with anything. And a lot of people had a problem with that. Now, we're not going to sit here, and I'm not going to sit here and go into depths about that whole case with Jameis and the alleged victim. And yeah, I say alleged victim for a reason, because if you're a Florida State fan, you've probably read some of the contradicting reports on that. But Jamel Hill was one of those people who did not was very upset. She hasn't been a fan of FSU since Jameis. We already know the thing with Paul Feinbaum and ESPN and how they can go off on Florida State. They're gonna they even criticize Norvell after finding out that Norvell did reach out to the team. No, Jamel Hill still criticized him on her Twitter, saying, "Well, this situation was bigger than a text message, don't you think?" ? Like, at what point can nothing satisfy you? Do I think the situation is bigger than a single text message? Sure, but it's addressed in the text message. See you later in the Zoom meeting, or you can reach out, or I will reach out to you personally, and we can talk. Like, all that stuff was addressed in the text message. People are just picking and choosing to not, and then some people were disappointed that Marv backed off his stance so quickly. Some people just want to see the world burn. Some people just want to see Florida State burn. Some people just want controversy and chaos. We had a moment and we handled it like a real organization should and is supposed to do. Bro, turn. As long as the school administration, coaching staff, and student athletes are united, it will not matter, and our opponents will not. No. Yep. Turn. Say yep. So yeah, and just Joshua Burrell tweeted out today his support for Coach Norvell. After that meeting, there were a ton of players that tweeted out their support for Coach Norvell. So I am not worried in the slightest about the recruiting or any of that. I'm really not. I would be worried if it would have been true that this was all a fabricated story to enhance your media or enhance your look in the eyes of the media. Then I would have had a problem with it. To come to find out you lied about something and it got exposed, but this, and with all the facts laid out, yeah, I'm not worried about recruits and none of that. Look, if parents can go send their kids to play for a guy who doesn't think racism is real, and players shouldn't get paid, and his staff members can say the N-word, Norvell's going to be just fine. And they're going to remain silent on Clemson, Raymond. They're going to remain silent. When these Clemson is a big money school. Let's not kid ourselves. When these big money schools cut these big checks to these broadcast stations and all of this, man, people ain't gonna talk about it. People ain't gonna talk about it. I haven't seen, and they'll probably do it tomorrow, but I haven't seen much coverage on the Jake Fromm incident. They've been talking about Drew Brees all day. That's because the NFL, and the NFL is its own entity. NFL is going to make billions regardless. But these college football programs and these broadcast networks like the CBSs and the ESPNs, they're in bed. They're in bed with each other and make a lot of money off of each other. So you're not going to see ESPN go out of their way to talk trash on Georgia. They'll bring up the news that they have to bring up. They won't go out their way like they're going to do for Florida State. They go out their way to talk trash about Florida State. They always have. They've been doing it since 2013, 2014. I'm looking now because I'm trying to see, can I find anything on Jake Fromm, and I can't, other than what's already been reported. So, yeah, I can't see nothing. Yep. So that's all, man. That's really all I got for today. Good little rant. I thought it was a good little conversation. Thank y'all for those who joined the conversation. I appreciate it. Just trying to give you a different outlook on things and just the way I see things. I mean, I can stay on if y'all still want to talk in the chat or something, but I don't really have anything else. I'm just glad the situation got resolved. It got resolved quick, and everybody and all parties seem to be happy, right? The kids were in the locker room today. Amari Gaynor posted a video after their meeting of them in the locker room getting ready to practice or whatever, work out. Whatever the case, wants them to cancel social media. I wouldn't necessarily be against that. I wouldn't be against that. Again, I support Marv 100% for speaking out. And if something else were to happen and on a serious manner, speak out against any injustices. That's all I'm gonna say. Speak out against anything that you feel is worth speaking out against. But I'm not against just cutting the social media off, right? But I don't think any coach at this moment in time, in this climate, I don't think no coach is going to make that demand that unless they already had it in place. Like if you're an Alabama player, I don't think they were ever allowed to really be on social media like that. But they can make the case that the season hasn't even started yet. So why not get on? Why aren't they allowed to be on social media? So I'm not against canceling social media. I just don't think that's going to happen. But yeah, I think canceling social media could. It won't hurt. It won't hurt. It won't hurt at all. That's for sure. Pat say what's up, Turk. AMG says, Polkana, I love the content, man. I love the support. I love the support, man. I love the guys who come in here and you support me. I'm 36. I have no social media. Shit's full of drama. Been married 20 years to my wife. I'm okay without it. Hey, I don't blame you, Pat. I don't blame you. Social media is definitely, but just all media, not even just social media. Like all media is so full of bad news, drama. It's kind of crazy, So that's why I don't watch the news, because the news will make you believe that the world's going to end tomorrow. I just avoid all that mess. I mean, I do have social media, but I use my social media for either funny stuff. The only thing I really use as a platform is this, and I use my Twitter to kind of promote this, promote my YouTube channel, and I do engage with FSU players and the coaching staff on Twitter, former players. So I use my Twitter and my YouTube channel. My Facebook is really just me posting like funny memes and stuff or things I think are funny on Facebook. I don't really use my Facebook in a big way like that. But honestly, yeah, I think if you don't have social media at all, I think you're winning. They do a lot of backwards and shady stuff on social media. Not even just the people on it, but the companies. They track your movements and all this other kind of crazy stuff with the social media. So unless YouTube counts as social media, I do mess with my bros on here. Yeah, I think YouTube does count as social media. But like I said, YouTube and my Twitter are only two social media platforms that I kind of take serious from the way I use it. Right, so I of course you watch silly stuff on YouTube, but my use of YouTube is how I do it. Preach, brother, preach. News has everyone depressed for real. Sure does. Trig is not happy apparently. What is Trig not happy about, Tyler? I haven't heard anything. What is now that we got all that serious stuff out the way? I mean, yeah, we can talk about recruiting, football. We can talk about the good stuff, but I haven't seen anything from Trig. Here's the thing with Trig. Trig has only released the top 20. I don't think Trig's in a rush to commit to anywhere anyway. And I don't know if Trig even knows what Trig wants right now. But what did you see on Trig? He said everybody has responded okay, though. Yeah, from what I've seen, everybody's been pretty happy. Trig, I haven't seen anything on him. But if you can, fill me in on, like, did he say something or was he not feeling the apology or what is his exact quotes, if he has any exact quotes? Jake Fromm released an apology. I don't know if anybody cared to read that. Of course, they backtrack off of what they said. And I don't know if you guys heard it, but I just want to read a portion of his apology that is, just let me read this to you guys. I am extremely sorry that I chose to use the words elite white people in a text message conversation. Although I never meant to imply that I am an elite white person, as I stated later in the conversation. If he's not the elite white person, are you putting people above you? What are you talking? They were talking about buying. He wanted to buy a suppressor for his weapons. That's what he was talking about in the text thread, if you haven't seen it. And then he makes the comment of guns are good or something like that. I kind of want to find it, so I'm giving accurate information. Let me find it. Because I'm gonna go in on Dabo because somebody needs to speak out against it, and if it has to be me, then so be it, right? But I just want to show you how bogus this apology is. So in the message thread, his friend or a friend is asking, I don't know if it's the friend or the sister, somebody asking Jake, somebody asks, has your views changed? And Jake's like, has the views changed on what? She's like, guns, silly Billy. He's like, I thought we were talking about a lot of stuff, but no, guns are good, which I am all for the Second Amendment. I love my guns as well. They need to let me get a suppressor. He's talking about getting a suppressor for his weapons. That's fine with me. Just make them very expensive so only elite white people can get them. And then the person responds, bro, what? Whoa, do you think you're an elite white person? I'm like, whoa, ha, ha, ha. So if he's not calling himself an elite white person, who is he calling an elite white person? Come on, man. Come on. Spoke to Trigg briefly. I asked him if he still look at FSU. No, sir, not at all. This is shocking. Well, if that's how he feels, that's how he feels. I'm assuming Trigg may have made those comments before knowing all the stuff, but if he, if he wants to drop FSU for that, then Michael Trigg has that right. Michael Trigg has that right. But I'll say this. I'll be very curious to see where you sign Michael Trigg, because if you go to Clemson or if you go to a Georgia, this has nothing to do with Mike Norvell. This has everything to do with other things. So let's just keep that same energy, because if you're going to drop Florida State, somebody pull up Michael Trigg's top 20. Because if you're going to drop Florida State, I want you to drop Clemson, because Clemson's got a coach. As a matter of fact, position coach. I believe the coach is a tight end position coach that said the N-word. You might want to drop Clemson, or how about you drop Georgia? So I'll wait on the Michael Trigg thing. I think he may just be talking, but we'll see. We'll see. He has that right. Just keep that same energy is all I'm saying, Michael Trigg. Later in the chat, after he gets called out, after he blank considered himself one. Oh, yeah, okay, Tyler's talking about that Jake Fromm stuff. Yeah, that's what I was just talking about. His apology is so bogus. If the NFL doesn't, the NFL needs to act. The NFL needs to act. This is going to be interesting to see how the NFL and the Buffalo Bills, I believe that's who drafted him, it's going to be interesting to see how they react to Jake Fromm. Because the apology is so bogus. It's like, word? Like, you just man up and say, yeah, I said something I shouldn't have said. But I wasn't calling myself a white elitist. Come on, man. Okay, Jake, you want to buy a suppressor for your gun that you bought that you think only white elites should get? Yep. Tyler's on the same page. But yeah, man, that news about Michael Trigg, Tyler, that, it's unfortunate. Don't get me wrong, because I like Trigg as a player. If Trigg feels that this situation is a reason for him to not go to Florida State, that's fine. By that response to me, it almost sounds like he was just looking for a reason not to drop Florida State. But I know he released the top 20. And if you're going to drop Florida State, cool. But I need that same energy across the board. That's all I'm saying, Michael Trigg. There's no reason why Clemson could still be considered. There's no reason why Georgia can still be considered. Maybe you should go to Florida or Miami. Like, I just want that same energy, because, I'm gonna look that up, because I don't know. I think I would assume after the players come out and support and everybody's okay, that you would be okay. But maybe you feel stronger about the situation. You got it from No Game Day. Okay. Yeah, because I haven't seen it, and I usually get most of my recruiting news from 247 and Michael Langston up at War Chant. I like some of War Chant's stuff that they put out, but I really like Michael Langston. He's usually on point with all of his information, and I usually don't get too much bias. Like, Langston's usually pretty positive on his FSU reporting, so I like listening to him, and he's usually pretty on point. And then I get with 247 for the rankings and all of that. Yeah, I don't really go to No Game Day for much, but I've seen a few articles from them. But I'm looking up Michael Trigg now, just to see if he said those words to somebody, someone else has to be reporting on it, I would have to think. Turn this peace out, Pope. I got to get some rest. Keep doing your thing. Yes, sir. All right, Turk. See you later, man. Y'all turning in that No Night on Tuesdays with me and Turk Tally live. Really don't care. The program won't die because you don't want to be a no. That's true, no-blooded. That's a fact. That is a unbridled fat. Just because you don't want to be here don't mean nothing. What's going on, Gator? Long time no see. I got Trig on Twitter. I'm on Trig's Twitter right now. I would have to believe if he said something, he would have said it on social media for everyone to see. No, and he ain't tweeted nothing. Last thing he tweeted was a day ago, and it was about the city of Tampa removing the Confederate flag, which if you drove on I-4 and off I-75, yeah, we've all seen that big old Confederate flag. But yeah, so I don't see nothing, but my statement still stands. Like, if you're gonna remove FSU for this incident, that's fine. You have that right. I got it. But I need that same. I need that same energy on some of these other schools. I'm trying to find his. So look, so I'm looking like his top 20, and he's got Georgia, he's got Clemson on, he's got all the big schools. So my thing is, I need you to drop some of these other programs that have known blatant racism a part of their program. Well, I thought I'd stop by and see what you guys were chatting about tonight. Seems like a big Marv's not happy. Oh, he's good. He's good, Gator. I think we're good, man. I think they cleared up the air over there in Tallahassee. I think we all right. No Blood says, Mr. Polk and Mr. Talley, you are really good and on point today. I try to be. I think Big Marv is going to be all right. We're hoping he's going to be all right. Yeah. So, yeah, that's all I really got for tonight. Did you get my link poll? No, where'd you send it? I didn't see it. Did you send it in the chat or did you? Hold on, let me see. Let me check the chat. Let me see. Now, brother, I'm counting on you because I'm getting ready to beat the brakes off a pine cone over there on the old Miami channel. That's what. What happened on the old Miami channel? What happened on the Miami channel, Gator? That's why you gotta stop going over there to them channels, man. They don't be doing nothing but hating, talking foolishness. Would like to see that Clemson fan. He should have showed up today just to see what's his thoughts on Dabo Swinney. Dabo Swinney probably can do no wrong to the Clemson fans. Obviously, the players aren't going to speak up against them. But you're up. Man, just to recap, I really hope the comments that he made does not come back and bite him in the ass at the next level. I don't think he cares, man. And I stand with Marvin on that. I get the concern, but I think some things are bigger than where you go in the draft. And if he felt this was a time for him to speak his piece and stand for something, then All respect to Marvin Wilson for doing that. Too many times, and I've said this before, and I know you just joined in Gator, but too many times, that's the problem in our society is people are scared of the repercussions to take a stand. I don't want to lose this job if I say this about this manager, but this manager's been harassing me, or I don't want to, say this about this friend or this group of friends will out me. Like, that's the problem. I think a lot of times that's why what you see going on in the streets of America is going on, because people know bad apples exist and don't want to say anything. They are too comfortable in their own situation, and they don't want to be uncomfortable, and they don't want to possibly jeopardize whatever it is they got going on. So they'll let the transgressions continue, and the injustices and the unfair treatment, and they'll let that stuff go and turn a blind eye to it or pretend like they don't see it because, well, it's not affecting me in my world. In the grand scheme of things, did what Norvell kind of say really affect Marvin Wilson? Could Marvin Wilson have went to Norvell and been like, yo, I want to have a talk to you about what's going on one-on-one? I know you said that you did everybody, but I didn't get that opportunity. He could have, but he felt this was a need to send a message. And again, I applaud him and I stand by him 1,000%. Who's the pine cone you talking about, man? What are you talking about? Here's the link. Oh, let me go to my I'm on the StreamYard. Let me go to the chat on the YouTube and I'll click on the link there. What do you got? I don't know the pine cone talking trash about Big Marvin. I don't know what you're talking about. Like, who is that? EMG says this will not hurt Marv in the NFL draft. Lots of NFL love leaders. I won't be as naive to say that, Image, and I'm not calling you naive. I'm just saying it's very possible. Listen, yes, NFL coaches do love leaders, but the NFL also has a very bad history of not liking outspoken athletes. Colin Kaepernick don't play football no more. Despite the, for the last 4 years, despite probably he should at least been a backup on some roster. Yeah. It all sounds good, and Marvin Wilson's talent alone will get him drafted. But if NFL teams feel like he's a distraction, it's just the facts. They don't like outspoken athletes like that. And I'm trying to. You keep saying here's the link, Tyler, but ain't no link. I don't have a link to click on. Yeah, but people that sign the checks don't like it when Yeah, see, there we go. Gator just put it out there. The people in the big offices don't. Not only do they not like when you blast the coach, I mean, they don't seem to like it when you just speak up in general. So if they feel like look, those GMs and those owners, if they feel like what you say can affect my revenue stream, then you have a problem, because that's all those people know. That's all they talk about is money. They don't care about what's going on in your life or what's going on in the real world. They just care about that bank account. Yeah, it must be, because I'm not seeing the link. Usually when I go to a Miami channel, Gator, I usually just go in there to listen. I rarely interact, because when you talk football with Miami, it always resorts down to the same conversations, man. Oh, we running back you. We were the best thing ever. We had the best college team of all time, the most talent of all time in 2001 or whatever it was. The conversation always results back to that, because they don't have anything else to talk about for the last 15 years. So I don't even really engage with Miami fans like that. There's nothing to talk about. Like, they literally have nothing to talk about in the last 15 years. They can't even say, well, remember that time we played Clemson in the ACC championship game? Nope, don't remember it because it ain't happened. Yeah, Miami fans are like talking to a revolving door. They're always going to come back around to the same point over and over and over. Oh, we lead the series, and we got more championships. We got 5 rings. Like it's the same thing. It's the same thing. They don't have any other argument. And most of the times, I only really watch their channels when they lose. Like, I mostly watch the Miami channels during the season when they lose to, like, an FIU or a Georgia Tech. Then I like to hear them. I like to just hear them contradict themselves. They'll talk about how Manny Diaz needs to be fired and he's trash and he's garbage. And now, at the beginning of this season, Manny Diaz is the greatest thing in college football. So, midway through the season, Miami's tune will be changing like it always does. That's why I don't tune into Clash of the South. I just want to hear about the Noles and miss me with everybody else. Yeah, I understand that. I've watched a few things of Clash of the South, but it can get a little bit. It gets a little repetitive. Like, how often are you just going to say the same things about Miami and Florida State? Like, we know it. And then they be having Georgia fans pop in there and all kind of guys. Like, man, what are y'all talking about? Miami has 0 ACC championships and 0 national championships. They don't have. That's what I'm saying. And because they don't have, and that's in 2004, like you said, that's 16 years, right? Am I doing my math right? It's 2020. Yeah, that's 16 years. In 20 years, they don't have anything to talk about except for that one magical season in 2020 and 2001. That was the national championship year, right? I believe 2001. We all know that team was the greatest team assembled from a talent standpoint of all time. We know that. That's the only thing they got to talk about. Anything past that is like, well, I guess Miami didn't play football. Oh, Pinecone is T2I. Oh, who gave him that nickname? Who gave T2I that nickname? Did you give him that nickname? That's funny. That's funny because he kind of T2Y is a cool brother, man. Don't talk about him like that. He said Pinecone is T2Y. I had no idea. I really did not have any idea. Oh, that's funny. I didn't know he was on. I didn't know he was going live. I don't know why they find the need to talk about. Is he asleep? Okay. I didn't know the need to find. I didn't know the need to. I don't know, man. My words are getting all twisted. I don't know why they found the need to make a live stream off of our stuff, or maybe he always does it. I don't know. Does he always do a Thursday live stream? And that just so happened to be one of the topics. If that's the case, then yeah, I get it. I mean, I've been talking about Clemson and Georgia on here, so. I don't got nothing else to talk about, Tyler. So, I mean, that's about it. I really just wanted to get my thoughts on the whole situation, and then we can cover. He said, what else do they have to talk about? Okay. Well, either way, I don't really have much to talk about. I'm just going off the chat, and we can just keep it going. I don't have anything to do. It's only 2 o'clock. It's almost 3 o'clock in the afternoon here, so I'm good. Just chilling on a Thursday. But yeah, you're right. They have nothing else to talk about. That's why I like you said, I'm like you, Tyler. I don't really watch Clash of the South. I go in there and I show my respect to the two, to Turnt and T2Y, because T2Y has reached out to me to try to get on his stream, get on the streams and stuff. So I go out there and I, just say what's up to the fellas, but I don't really engage. I think I may have engaged in a couple videos, a couple chats where I'm kind of going back and forth, and then it gets repetitive and I'm like, okay, this is boring. So he had a breaking news story this morning all about FSU. Yeah, that's what they're going to do. Because they fear us. regardless of what they tell you, they know what's up. And any bad news is good news. I mean, that's no different to me, right? If Miami did some stupid stuff, I talk about it. I don't know if I dedicate a whole video to it, to be honest with you. I don't. If you notice on my channel, I rarely talk about the other schools because y'all don't come here for that. Who cares? Tyler says I'm packing up to move right now, so just passing the time. All right, that's what's up. I'm glad I can help you pass the time. But who gave him the nickname Pinecone, Gator? Did you give him that nickname Pinecone? Where did the nickname Pinecone come from? Because that is actually very funny to me. That is funny to me. Pat's still in the... All right, Pat, you still hanging around here? That's what's up. Tyler says he's moving to Tampa. All right. What? Where you moving from? And what part of Tampa? My wife actually went to college in Tampa. My wife actually went to USF. And I'm pretty familiar with the Tampa area. You know, being from Polk County and all. All right, EMG, appreciate you tuning in, man. Mr. Polk, thank you for serving the Army. We appreciate you, sir. Hey, don't thank me. I just do it. I just do it. Don't thank me. But I thank you for thanking me. That's what's up, Pat. Yep. So that's funny because my wife went to school at USF, but she's from Palm Beach. She's from Belgrade. Okay. West Atlanta going to Tampa. Got it. That's what's up. That's what's up. I thought this was a good conversation to have, though. She go to Glade Central. She went. It was Glade. She went. Their mascot was the Raiders, I think. She always tells me that Santonio Holmes was her teammate. So if that's Glade Central, then yeah, she said the Raiders is her. Yeah, she went to the Raiders. So that's who Glade Central is. I know she went. They're the Raiders. Their colors are garnet and gold too, I think, or they're like burgundy and gold or something like that. She said, yeah. So she went to Glade Central. Yep. Well, I think I'm going to cut it out here, guys. I don't have too much to talk about. And I'm getting hungry. So I might do another one of these. I thought it was a pretty good turnout. And I might do another one of these, man, Saturday or something. I think Turnt does live Saturday, so I don't want to interfere with his stuff. I might just join Turnt's live this Saturday like I did last Saturday and just have some fun. They were powerhouse back in the day. Yeah, there was how old is T2I? My wife might know him. My wife might know him, actually. My wife is older than me. I'm only 32. My wife is 35. I think she graduated I think she was born in 85, I think. Or she might have been born in 84. I don't know. She might know. Who knows, man? South Florida, Y'all might know each other. Who knows? Might know each other. Thank Poe. Much love. Said, yep. T2 I was born in 85. Yeah. There's a possibility they know each other, man. To be honest with you, if they both went to Glade Central, there's a good possibility they know each other. Matter of fact, I'm gonna show her him and see if she knows him. But all right, y'all, I'm gonna head out. I'm hungry. I will see y'all Saturday on Turn Tally's Turn Tally Live show. And this was a good teachable moment, guys. I thought we had some good discussion today. So chop it up, Seminole. Stay classy. And I'm out here. All right, guys.